basically they were talking about it from the seller's point of view
Okay.
and how due diligence sucks.
Due diligence does suck. But you know what? Everybody puts a little fluff into it, and we've kind of gotten used to it. Let's talk about that for a second. Let me tell you guys about due diligence and how important due diligence is, and how due diligence is actually always a little fluffed up when it comes to sellers in commercial real estate. Now look, I've been dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate in the past, and I can tell you firsthand that I've been on both sides, right? So I've been on the buyer's side, where I know there's a little bit of fluff on the seller's deal, on the seller's side selling to me. And I've also been on the seller's side, which means I have had to do a little bit of fluffing just to make everything look good, make sure that it's presentable to the buyers so that they buy. It is almost like a silent agreement between buyer and seller. And sophisticated buyers and sellers understand that. There's plenty of meat, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of meat left on the bone, meaning there's plenty of opportunity, both people are going to end up making money. It's just that, usually this is kind of that final piece of the negotiation where the buyer is right here and the seller is literally right here, the buyer is right here and the seller is on top right here. And in order to make this deal happen, the due diligence has to happen. Now, of course, there's a lot of buyers that will go into extreme deep down due diligence and they will do a really good job. But sometimes what that ends up doing, and we all realize this, is that it'll end up blowing up your deal. And you don't want that to happen. Both buyer and seller are here to buy and sell. The seller needs to sell for for this reason. The buyer needs to buy for this reason. Let's say the buyer needs to deploy capital. The seller needs to exit their investors. Whatever the deal is, if we are very close to a deal, and we know that, we can turn this deal around in a year and it's going to be just fine and everything's going to be good, sometimes we allow silently the fluffiness to happen just because, we are in the deal to make business. We are in the deal to make money over a long period of time. And the sellers have probably done a really good job, just not exactly where we want them to be, right? So in most cases, due diligence is extremely important. However, I do think that due diligence is completely 100% in the seller's control. And in most cases, sellers will fluff up that process.